So welcome to the 2013 Yachting Australia Instructor Conference. Can everybody hear me okay? Down at the back. Brilliant. Can everyone see okay as well? Because I know there's some, we've been trying to block it out as much as possible. So if I do see these with your sunnies on, I know you're not sleeping, hopefully. So welcome again, and welcome to sunny Queensland. It's fantastic that they've put the sun on for us again this year, so hopefully we're going to have some really good few days. The aim of the Instructor Conference this year, as you know, we've changed a bit of the format, that we've changed it from 3 days to the specific programs down to 2 days, and there was a few reasons for that. Is that we wanted to raise the level up to more level 3 and senior instructor level, but also to break down some of the barriers between the programs and really promote consistency, because we feel that a lot of the information that we're giving out to instructors is generic information, and all professional development opportunities are relevant to all instructors across all of the programs. And we really want to encourage everyone to start networking between the programs, because we really believe you guys can actually learn a lot from each other. So that was a lot of the aims for this weekend. The main theme of this weekend is instructor capacity, because we're all come here today and we really value the fact that there's so many people have turned up this weekend to actually come, and you've made that commitment, and we really do appreciate that. It's fantastic to see. And I know the States are really enthusiastic, because I know they're looking to start doing their own instructor conferences in the States, so we're hoping we're going to get as many people to those conferences as well. So the main theme is increasing instructor capacity. So we're really going to be providing a lot of professional development opportunities for instructors at this level, and I'll go into a little bit more detail on a few of those opportunities as we go through just this presentation. But we're all here today with the same goal. No matter if you're an instructor, a centre principal, a state association, or Yachting Australia, we're all here to get more people out there. And that's what I just want you to keep in mind for this whole weekend, because we're all trying to aim to get the same thing, and we're all pushing for the same area. So that's what we're hoping to help to get you guys to achieve that, because you guys are at the coalface. You guys are out there instructing and helping participants get involved in sailing and getting them to keep coming back, which is fantastic. So we value you guys so much. Networking opportunities. We know that the best ideas are you get out of bleeding on the bar with a drink in the hand. So we're going to try and encourage a lot of networking, especially this evening. We expect a lot of communication between all of you. There's a lot of different people here. We actually have representation from every single state around Australia, which I think is absolutely fantastic. So we've got a couple of people come down from Northern Territory. I know we've got a good group from WA as well who have come over. We've got a few people from Tasmania. I think use this opportunity. We don't get it very often where everyone is in the same place at the same time. Try and go and talk to people from different states. And I want to give you a challenge. Go and talk to someone you don't know. I know it's a great opportunity to catch up with people who you've not seen for a year, but go and talk to someone who you might never met before. Find out what they do, what their goals are, why are they an instructor, because they're going to have the same passion that you do for being here. So it's really important to start sharing ideas, and at Yachting Australia, that's a big goal of ours, is to really start to facilitate a lot of shared learning and shared ideas, because we don't want you to feel like when you go back to your Discover Sailing Centre that you're out there on your own instructing. I know everyone is extremely busy, and it's so easy to take away, be really enthusiastic when you leave conferences and then just get bogged down in your day-to-day lives. So it's really important that we help to facilitate that network of instructors, because we're not just one instructor, we're a whole network, and that's what the whole weekend is hopefully going to facilitate. We've also put on their relationship building. This is also communication improvements as well. We're actually working quite hard at Yachting Australia to actually develop a whole team that we have, and you will see that we have representation, pretty much most of the team actually, from the whole sports development team, which you'll see a lot of conferences now where we're all going to it, because again, we're all working to that same goal of getting more people out on boats. So I'm going to actually just take this opportunity to introduce a couple of people for those of you who may not know who they are, just so that if you have any questions, you know who to go and harass later on. So I realise I haven't actually introduced myself, so apologies for that. So I'm Nicola Tyre, I'm the Education and Training Manager. So I oversee all of the instructor training, the Learn to Sail and Powerboat programs as well, so we work extremely closely with the States. We've got Ross Kilborn here, who's the Sport Development Director, who oversees all the sports development, so education and training, sports services and participation. We do have participation manager and sports services manager coming. Daisy will be here later on tomorrow, and Glenn will be here next doing some delivery as well. We have some of Glenn's team here, Amy and Rachel. Ray will actually be presenting later on, and Amy is helping me significantly with this conference. I've also got my team here, who I'm not sure where they are. So I've got Sonia, and I've also Sonia Robinson, who's just over there in the corner, who a lot of you may have spoken to or know of. And then we have someone new who sat at the back, Chris Tate, who joined us on Monday. So he has been dropped in at the deep end. So we want him coming back to the office on Monday, so please don't hassle him too much. We also have our chief instructors, who again, some of them are out and about getting the boats ready for the practical this afternoon, but I do have Tony Dillon over here on the left, who's our keelboat instructor, who will be taking all your keelboat instructors out later on. We have Martin Silk and Chris Goldace as well, but I think they are outside just setting up the boats. I'm also going to dob the states in now, because I'm not sure some of them are trying to hide, but it's very important that you all know who your state association representatives are. So I've got from New South Wales, Tom Brewer, who's over here. I've got Ian Leeson from South Australia, Greg Rawlings from Tasmania, I've got Dean Cable from WA. Thank you, Dean, for getting up. I think we do have Queensland representatives here, we hope, because they're only across the road, Josh and Ben, but I don't think they're actually here yet because we have given them quite a few tasks for this conference. Setting up boats. Okay, and have I missed anyone? Victoria, sorry. Shocking, sorry, Gavin.
You're appreciated though.
We do appreciate it. Oh, I knew I was going to forget someone. Sorry, Gavin. Is Sean around as well?
He's coming not here yet.
Yeah, okay, so Sean and Gavin, so apologies for that. It was a good faux pas to start with, wasn't it? At least I didn't forget Tasmania. It was one of the mainland states anyway, so. One of the last things is collectively discuss and develop the future of trainings. So, apart from me talking at you this morning, because we've got a lot to get through, there'll be a lot of interactive sessions over the next few days to actually start workshopping some ideas. So I really hope you take a lot out of that and really learn from it, and can take a lot back to your Discover Sailing Centre to actually hopefully improve what you're doing. So I'll just do a little bit of housekeeping. The toilets are just out through the back there. There is a fire escape door just out there on the right that goes down onto the lawn. I'm not aware that we're having a fire alarm, so if it goes off, please vacate as quick as possible. There is a smoking area for anyone who smokes. There is just a red sign just out of that single door there. If you do go out there, just make sure the doors are shut so the smoke isn't coming back in. You also notice that we are doing some videos during this weekend as well, mainly of the presentations, just for anyone who wasn't able to actually come this weekend, so they can actually view the videos online later on. We'll also be doing some videos of the workshops, just because that's going to be what we're going to be using for training videos in future. So if anyone has a real aversion to being on camera, please let us know, and we will try and facilitate as much as possible. But you've all signed your terms and conditions, which did, in very small print, say that you were happy. So we take it that you're all beautifully happy with that. We do have quite a tight conference because we really wanted to use this opportunity as much as possible to facilitate some development opportunities with you guys. So the main thing I would ask is that when we're moving from the conference room out to the boats, that we do it as quick as possible so that you get maximum time out on the boats, because we really want to make sure you guys enjoy this sun and aren't sat in here all day. I'll go through, when you actually arrived, you should have received a conference pack. That should include a brochure, which has actually got the full agenda on, all information on the speakers that are joining us this weekend. And then there's also just some information on the shop and just some of the books that you can purchase, just if anyone is not aware of some of the ones that are actually on the online shop. You should have also received a workshop delegate list. Everyone should have received an email from myself a couple of weeks ago regarding the conference, which did outline which workshop you have been allocated to. For those who either didn't receive it or saw it was from Yachting Australia and deleted it straight away, there's actually a workshop delegate list in your pack. Please make sure you know which workshops you're going to be in, because we will be moving quite quickly, and we want to make sure that you're all on the right boats at the right time and we're not losing anybody. Ready for this afternoon's practical activities, I would encourage you all at morning tea, for anyone going out on dinghy or powerboat, to get changed if you want to, just so that we're ready to get out there straight away. And just to make sure you've got your life jackets ready, anyone who hasn't got a life jacket, we've actually noted that down. We'll get that sorted for you before you go out there. Those who are on keelboat in the first session, it is going to be just on the parklands outside, so you don't need to worry about getting changed for the first session. You'll also see in your pack, we've got RFD kindly come on board with us for this conference, especially for you guys, and have given us 3 prizes to give away. So we really want to encourage you that over the weekend or tonight, go away and go have a look at their website, see what products they offer, and they've actually set us up with 8 questions so that you can actually go into the draw to win 1 of 3 prizes. So fill that in over the weekend and just hand it back probably over to the registration table, and we'll be in contact with the 3 winners in the next few weeks. So I'm going to officially kick off the conference with just an education and training update. It's a bit apt as it is a training conference. So what I want to focus on is a brief overview of what we've been doing so far this year, and then what we're aiming to do in the next 6 to 12, 24 months. So this time last year, we introduced them. Ross and Daisy stood up in front of everyone and introduced the logo of Discover Sailing and the website. Now you'll see it on a lot of the slides and a lot of the pull-up banners. So a lot of this year has been about getting that message out to all the clubs, to the centres, to the states, and really educating people on what Discover Sailing is. We're still aware there's a very long way to go in actually implementing this properly down through to the clubs and centres, and we're heavily working on that. And we recognise that the instructors are key to that, because you guys are the ones who are teaching these children and adults about how to sail and keeping them in the program. So a lot of what we're trying to do over this weekend is actually helping improve your skills on doing that. And we've got someone coming in about marketing to train how you actually keep people within the sport of sailing, and how you guys your role can actually help with that. There has been a few changes in education and training. So as of July 2012, Yachting Australia released all control nearly, and passed all the book back to the States, as much as they might be regretting that right now, how much we've been pushing them for the last year. But they've done a fantastic job. So your contact point now as a centre and instructor is your state association. So, and Yachting Australia is now just focusing on national policies and procedures and how we implement them through the states and out to you guys. So your states now are the key conduit to really provide feedback back up to us. So really encourage you to go and speak to your state association during this weekend if there's any feedback that you want to provide as well, or any of the YA staff. Again, based on feedback from last year's instructor conference, we have been reviewing all of the instructor training. I'm going to go into detail a little bit more on exactly what we've been doing with the training, just for your information, because a lot of you are senior instructors and we'll be delivering the new training. We've also renewed our RTO status, so our Registered Training Organisation status. So that's been quite a big job that Martin Silk, who's now just popped in and hiding at the back, has been a significant help with, and I'll give you a little bit more information on that later as well, because it's quite important for instructors to understand how that works. So brief overview in numbers. Up until the end of April 2013, you guys and everyone in this room have put through nearly 10,000 people through a Learn to Sail or powerboat course. I think that's something we should all be pretty happy with and pretty proud of. So everyone in this room has helped towards getting that target. So you should all be really, I think that's a pretty good number. We want to improve on it, and that's why we're here today, to see how we can actually improve getting to our goal of getting more people out there. We have just over 200 Discover Sailing centres now, and again, I know the states are working very closely with the centres to help improve the centres that we've got and actually get on new centres who have a lot of potential. Looking specifically at instructor numbers now, we have about 3,300 instructors across the programs. There's about 2,500 unique instructors, so obviously out of the 3,000, there's a lot of people who are across both programs, like a lot of people in this room. Some of you are across all 3 programs. We've got about 207 TACAs instructors, which we really want to be focusing on improving that number, as obviously TACAs is quite a driving program in the Discover Sailing brand and program, so we really want to make sure TACAs, we're getting a lot more people through. So the focus on there is a lot of dinghy instructors and obviously assistant instructors coming through. We really want to nurture the young sailors who are really passionate about what they do and getting them involved in the instructor pathway. So moving on to a little bit more information about the instructor training and what we've been doing. So the aim that I took away from last year's instructor conference was we want to develop high quality instructors who can deliver quality training to participants, ensuring consistent standards across Australia and across each program, and improving the accessibility of that training. So taken away from that, we've actually been working on a whole range of aspects, getting feedback from the state associations and getting feedback from the senior instructors as well. So the main aim is getting consistent learning outcomes. So really identifying what do we want instructors to be able to do when they have been qualified, what is it across all the programs, and really whether it's dinghy, keelboat or powerboat, it's the same qualities that we're looking for, it's just a different technical skill set. We're looking at consistent assessment competencies and tools. So again, we have different report forms across each of the programs, so we've looked to actually condense that down so we have one report form across each of the programs, because again, all of the instructors across the programs, as long as they have that technical knowledge of that specific program, what we're looking for in qualities of instructors is exactly the same. So we've actually condensed it down and had one report form which has gone out for feedback, and we're actually now currently working on that feedback and improving it again and making it a bit more practical for senior instructors to use. This will lead to more consistent delivery methods across the country and across the programs, because everyone's working to the same set of outcomes and competencies. We've been updating and standardising the materials and the resources. So we've updated our instructor handbook. It no longer has a whole workbook in it. We don't want to have a whole theory day within any of the instructor training, so they're working through questions. It's now just a handbook that people can download before the course, and they'll get a hard copy on the course as well. Then they'll get a program-specific handbook, all on the teaching notes for each of the different programs. So these are a work in progress. They are at draft stage at the minute. Again, they've gone out for feedback to all of the relevant senior instructors in the states. So we will be working on those. In line with removing all of the workbook questions out of the instructor training means that we do need to get some of that theory knowledge across to instructors in some way, shape or form. We've decided to use online resources to do that now. So working with the Sports Commission, who I think I just saw Peter Top just wander in, who's from the Sports Commission, we're using their online general principles, but we took some feedback from everyone, because we sent that out to our senior instructors to actually complete, to give us a bit of feedback. And they felt that it wasn't very sailing specific, and it was a bit difficult for instructors to actually understand how they would apply that in our setting outside. So we've actually taken those questions and made them sailing specific and put examples in from each of the programs, so that instructors will actually then go and do an online quiz and assessment questions, which will take them an hour or so, just before they go on the course, so that when they actually come face to face to the course, it's purely practical application of what they've already learned. So we're actually trying to condense the time down, because we know everyone is time poor, everyone wants less face to face, and I think the online resource is the way to go. So we're now again in testing stages of that, so hopefully keep you posted that we're really starting to make some improvements on those areas. So the Registered Training Organisation, for those who aren't aware, Yachting Australia have been an RTO since around 2007. This meant we were able to deliver 4 units of competency that sit within the Cert 4 training and assessment module. This wasn't really utilised very much during the 5 years when we had it, and this was up for renewal in 2012. I found out the day before, so it was quite a lot of work to be doing overnight to just try and submit a renewal. Now, a lot of the units that we actually had originally had changed significantly in the 5 years, so we had to spend about 6 months remapping everything to these new units of competency, and about 40 policy documents later, we finally managed to get our RTO status renewed as of last month. So that's significant for us, because it does hinge a lot on some of the regulations that we have to adhere to. But it's also really important that this is renewed and we actually utilise it this time. And so what we've done is actually map the units of competency back to our instructor training that we've also been reviewing. So this is going to be how it's actually going to sit within the instructor training. So our first unit of competency, which is provide work skill instruction. All of our instructors at the entry level, so your dinghy sailing instructor, your keelboat instructor and skipper instructor, and your powerboat instructor, Once they've attended that instructor training, they'll then just have to submit an additional evidence portfolio to be able to achieve that unit of competency. And for instructors, that only means actually going out and delivering 2 additional sessions in their workplace. So they're already going to be doing that anyway. It just means that they can actually now get an additional unit of competency for them that they can be recognised for. Our other 3 units are more around the assessment side of things, so that is more applicable to our senior instructors. So we have been updating the senior instructor course as well, and making sure that once they've gone through that senior instructor training, again, they can just submit an additional evidence portfolio if they want to achieve those additional units. Now, it's not obviously quite just as simple as that. There's a lot of standards and quality controls around an RTO. We do have a few trainers and assessors who are qualified to deliver this, because within each of the units, the assessor has to have a full Cert 4. We obviously don't want to impact on any of the instructor training by enforcing that on instructor training, because that would mean every single senior instructor would have to have that, which is quite a big onus on senior instructors. So we're currently working through some of those issues, but we do have a few people in the room now. So Richard, who has the full Cert 4 and who has provided us with all the information, so he can be an assessor now for these units. So we will be sending out a lot more information about this. As I said, we've only just had it renewed, so we're just starting to work on it. So there'll be a lot more information on the website. We will be working on a frequently asked questions page as well, just for any instructors who are already qualified, because we can do RPL as well. So I won't be going into any further detail now, but there'll be a lot more information coming out, because I think it's really a good opportunity for instructors, because these units of competency can be used all around the country and not just in sport. It's recognised nationally, so I think it's quite a good thing that we can start marketing to instructors and younger ones coming through who want that qualification. Online learning management system. So, I mean, I touched on earlier what we're looking at doing with the online assessment quiz for instructor training. And that was the start of something that I went to Ross and said, look, I think this is something we really need to be moving into, to move with technology, but also to be providing a lot more opportunities for not just instructors, but everybody. Anyone who's involved in sailing, I think this can help one way or another. So this is going to be in line with our strategic plan, which is being worked on currently with all the states. We want a platform that enables us to provide up-to-date and interactive learning opportunities and continuous development for all club personnel. So at the minute, we recognise we do provide training, but then that's pretty much where it stops. So an instructor will come on an instructor course, and then they go off and they instruct, and if they don't come to conferences, we don't really see them. If we haven't got their email, they never get any information off us, or they don't want information off us. So what we're really trying to move into is providing that training, but then ongoing and up-to-date developments. And it's not just going to be once a year, it's going to be continuous. There's going to be that portal that we can actually utilise. So what we're looking at including on the online management system is so communications and feedback. It's an area that we can actually start utilising for surveys and sending things out for people. Online courses, so as we outlined earlier with the instructor training, we're also looking at different courses. A course that we're looking at the minute and a workshop, which you'll see some information on the tables on, is an inclusion workshop, which is a day on everyone discover sailing and getting everybody involved in how club personnel can actually make some adaptations in their clubs to actually make sure that it's inclusive for everybody. So we're looking at how we can actually put that online, because I think that's really valuable for anyone, whether they're an instructor or an administrator, anything. So that's what we're moving into for that as well. Some training videos, so some of the footage that we're doing today, we're looking at getting some training videos, especially to start with for people who aren't instructors yet, and to know what level we expect. So what is best practice? What are the teaching points for different skills out there on the dinghy? And we want to utilise you guys for actually sending us stuff for videos, teaching points, everything like that, that we can actually start utilising to educate these new instructors, and then progressively moving on to existing instructors and more advanced skills. So we can have a platform that actually enables us to do that a lot better than us just sitting it on our website. Coming back to my comment about networking and facilitating communication among the whole country, is we're hoping to have some forums set up in a controlled manner. We don't just want all the negative feedback, although it's very important for improvements. We want to facilitate it, so if an instructor in South Australia might have a question, that they can actually post it up there, and someone may have that specific skill set in WA and who can answer that question. because they might not talk to them, they might not know who they are, but we need to have a facility that can actually help them improve, because we want to share best practice. There's a lot of good things going on out there in the clubs, at the centres, that the instructors are doing. We want you guys to share that. We don't just want to share it within our own state. We're a whole networking community of instructors trying to achieve that same goal. We need to help you facilitate that, so it's not just a once a year coming and talking to each other. Other online resources we're looking at, so anything, obviously just any teaching notes that we have, we're looking to get it online, but also looking at webinars, so an interactive webinars, so that it is, you can be watching a video on a certain aspect and the actual presenter is there and you can ask them questions, and if you can't make that video, maybe you just watch it later on. So these are all the types of things that we're looking to move into. We're currently at the research phase. We really need to outline everything that we actually want from this platform. And we're actually then looking at what's out there, because there's a huge amount of companies that offer these platforms, and it's really working out what is the best one for us, based around budget, based around what we want, based around accessibility, because we don't want to make it difficult to use. It's got to be something that everyone's going to be able to tap into. So we have met with a few people already, and we will continue to do that. So hopefully in the new year we can start making a lot, in the new financial year, we can start making a lot more progress, because we're identifying this within the budget for next year as well. So just going to give you a bit of an update on the increasing instructor capacity. So a little bit more information on some of the areas we're actually going to be going through over the next 2 days. So marketing and social media, we've actually got a gentleman from Griffith University coming this morning to talk to you about marketing and social media, because it is something that a lot more people are using nowadays. We need to now start working out how we can utilise these systems a lot better for getting people, getting people into the centres and clubs, and then keeping in as well. And it's how we communicate, it's how we market ourselves, and it's also how we maybe utilise websites as well to get the most out of that. So we felt this was an area that everyone could benefit from, and I know we could always do things better as well. Inclusion. I'll give you a little bit of background on the inclusion, because I think it's not something we've really focused on before with instructor training, but it is one of the 10 components within Discover Sailing program, and it is something that Daisy Brooke, the participation manager, has been working very hard on to actually start engaging a lot more of the sailability clubs and sailability centres. Is anyone here from a sailability club or centre? Excellent, we've got a few around, brilliant. So some of you may have actually been at the Sailability Conference. No? Yes, a few of you were. So we actually had a Sailability Conference down in Canberra in March, which was the first of its kind since 1996. So it was really good to get everyone together from the sailability community, whether it was administrators, volunteers, some of their instructors as well, just to come together and really outline to them what we're trying to achieve with Discover Sailing, because a lot of them are out there on their own, they're not really part of what we're doing, and it was to try and bridge that gap and get them to embrace what we're trying to achieve with Discover Sailing and the benefits of coming involved. So I think it's really applicable for centres though as well, because it is trying to go and talk to your sailability clubs out there, how you can work together, because a lot of you are working on your own but in very close proximity, so it's really important that we start that communication up. As I mentioned earlier, there is information on your table regarding Everyone Discover Sailing. So it is a workshop there is a workshop around the concept which has been developed that is going to be available for all club administrators to take part in if they want more information on how they can make that club a lot more inclusive. We will be looking at how we make some of this online as well. Our chief instructor for Dinghy, who again I think I just saw walked in, Chris Goldacre. What Chris has been no one else got a round of applause, sorry Chris.
Be nice to me, because I will be looking after you on the water. So, yeah, that's fine.
So now we've all had the fantastic introduction of Chris. Chris is actually engaged to review the Dinghy program to see how inclusive our Dinghy program actually was, to actually facilitate a market that anyone can be involved in our program with minimal adaptation. So Chris did a lot of work in that, and we've been working with the sailability community on trying to get them involved in the programs. This is also now stretched across to the new instructor training. So we've actually been making sure that all of the developments within instructor training actually has an inclusive element. So there's a section in the instructor handbook on how you actually are inclusive, and this doesn't just mean sailors with a disability, it means all of genders, all of ages, all abilities. So it's making sure anyone has that opportunity to be involved in what we're trying to achieve. And so part of the instructor training is how we do that. It could be as simple as changing your communication methods, maybe increasing the time of the sessions a little bit. It can be simple as that, or it could be a lot bigger adaptations to equipment. And we're not going to be able to cover everything, but again, this is where I think the network of instructors can become really important. So if there's someone who has a specialist area with a specific disability, we can put you in touch with that if you need more information. That's some of the areas we're trying to move into, but later on today we're actually going to have a session on inclusion and how instructors can be inclusive, just to give you a bit of more information on that. Peter Top from the Sports Commission will be heading up a mentoring discussion and workshop tomorrow morning. This is going to be heavily workshops. It is something we want information on how this is actually going to be developed, how this may work in sailing, because I think we've had some framework in the past and then it seems to have dropped off, and we just really want to review this again and see how this can actually improve instructor capacity for either new instructors coming through or existing instructors that just want a bit more experience in certain areas. So Peter will be facilitating that tomorrow morning. Going back even to the inclusion topic, working with different generations. So I think within Discover Sailing, we teach kids from with little tackers now from 4 all the way up to, don't want to be discriminative, but any age really. We can get anyone involved, so we need to know how we actually instruct to cater for all of the different generations. So we've got 2 gentlemen from the Sports Commission up here in Queensland coming to deliver a talk on how you actually work with the different generations tomorrow morning. Then tomorrow afternoon we're going to be finishing off with just some generic workshop discussions with each of the chief instructors on the program. So it's just going to be a bit of discussions on a few areas and some time for feedback from all of you. We're not going to break you up into the different programs because we feel a lot of the discussions will be benefited by everybody. So everyone will be having those discussions. So the chief instructors will be facilitating those discussions before you will leave tomorrow. So really hope that gives you a good overview of what we've been doing, what our aims are for this next weekend, and where we're planning on going. So I have been under time, so I have got time for questions, but wanted to give you, as I like to do, a bit of an inspirational quote for the day, a bit cheesy, but it's always good to start off on a good note. So coming together is the beginning, which I think we've started to do. We're all working towards our common goal. Keeping together is progress. I think we're really trying to achieve that now. But then working together is success. We've still got a long way to go to get there, I feel, but I think hopefully we're moving in the right direction, and I hope you will see that and benefit from this weekend. So has anyone got any questions on any of that or what's going to be coming up?